The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered PC. Yup, it's finally happened. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered has made its way to PC, and whether you've already played it on PlayStation or not, this is the definitive version. Naughty Dog took everything they learned from Part 1's remake and poured it into Part 2. Better lighting, better textures, improved enemy AI, and full support for ultra-wide monitors, unlocked frame rates, and even ray tracing, if your rig can handle it. It's a visual and emotional powerhouse. But let's be real, the biggest win here is that PC players finally get access to one of the most emotionally intense games of the last decade. And yes, it's controversial. Some people love the story, some people hate the story, but no one walks away from it untouched. You get dual perspectives, brutal stealth combat that actually rewards patience and positioning, and some of the best facial animations in gaming. Period. The remaster also includes a roguelike survival mode where you can play as various characters from the series, trying to survive randomized encounters with different gear and settings each time. It's challenging, addictive, and gives you a reason to keep coming back even after finishing the main campaign. And hey, modders are already digging into it. Expect wild mods, graphics tweaks, and even full gameplay overhauls. That's the beauty of a PC release. If you've never played it before, this is the time. If you already have, this is the best excuse to revisit it in the most polished form yet. The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remake. Okay, this is the one Elder Scrolls fans have been dreaming about for over a decade. Oblivion Remake is officially on its way, and 2025 might just be the year we all return to the Imperial City. But this time, with modern graphics, smoother combat, and an atmosphere that actually does justice to the scale and magic of Cyrodiil. Let me say this, Oblivion was a masterpiece in its time, but let's be honest, going back to it now, the faces look weird, the animations are stiff, and the UI kinda painful. This remake aims to fix all of that, while keeping what made the original so iconic. The open-ended freedom, the deeply weird quests, and that strange, slightly surreal charm that Skyrim never quite had. From what we've heard, the remake is being rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5. That means better lighting, massive draw distances, and way more detail in the world. Imagine walking through the forests of the Great Forest or standing on the White Gold Tower and actually seeing the full expanse of the Imperial Province stretching out in every direction. And the combat, thank the Nine Divines, is finally getting a full overhaul. No more flailing swords and floaty hits. They're modernizing it with proper hit detection, weighty animations, and hopefully adding in spell combo mechanics to bring the magic system to life. Plus, NPC AI is getting a big boost. They'll actually follow schedules, respond more naturally, and react to what you do in the world. We also know they're keeping the faction quests, the Oblivion Gates, and the absolutely iconic Dark Brotherhood storyline. If you remember sneaking into that house in Titanfall, yeah, goosebumps just thinking about it. But what makes this remake exciting isn't just nostalgia. It's the chance to replay a true RPG classic in a way that feels brand new. And for those who never played Oblivion, you're in for a treat. It's not just Skyrim, but older. It's weirder, it's deeper, and in some ways, it's even more ambitious. There's more dialogue, more politics, and a real sense that the world moves around you. La Quimera. Now here's a game that's flying under the radar, but honestly, La Quimera might turn out to be one of the most artistic and emotionally striking titles of 2025. Developed by a small indie team, this game blends cinematic storytelling, surreal visuals, and slow-burn psychological horror. From the early footage and dev interviews, it looks like it's inspired by games like Inside, Silent Hill, and even a bit of Death Stranding, but La Quimera does its own thing. You play as a man lost in a crumbling world where dreams, trauma, and memory all collide. The environments are hauntingly beautiful, not horror in the jump scare way, but horror in the this place feels wrong kind of way. Think quiet streets, flickering lights, whispering voices, and that feeling that you're being watched, even when you're alone. Gameplay-wise, it's not about combat or collecting loot. This is a game that focuses on immersion and atmosphere. Puzzles are deeply tied to the story. You're not solving them just to unlock doors, but to unravel the protagonist's mind. Every step forward feels like peeling back a layer of his past. It's also got this rich Latin American folklore influence, which is something we rarely see in modern games. That alone makes it stand out. Fresh mythology, different symbols, and a mood that's equal parts beautiful and terrifying. If you're into deep, thought-provoking games that leave you thinking long after the credits roll, La Quimera needs to be on your list. Mindseye. Mindseye is a mystery-driven adventure game that blends psychological horror with a rich narrative. Set in a world where reality and illusion blur together, The game follows the protagonist as they try to uncover the truth behind a mysterious experiment gone wrong. In Mindseye, you'll explore haunting environments, solve puzzles, and make decisions that shape the outcome of the story. The main focus is on narrative and atmosphere, making each moment feel tense and uncertain. As the story unfolds, you'll face strange occurrences that challenge your perceptions of what's real. Expect mind-bending twists and moments that will make you question your every move. Gameplay involves a mix of exploration and decision-making. As you interact with the world around you, you'll encounter various characters, but the real challenge lies in deciding who to trust, as everyone seems to have their own hidden agenda. The game's story is designed to keep you on edge, with unpredictable outcomes based on your choices. Visually, Mindseye uses a unique art style that enhances the eerie atmosphere, with surreal visuals and distorted environments that heighten the feeling of unease. The sound design is equally important, with subtle sound cues that build tension as you navigate the story. Mindseye is for fans of psychological thrillers who enjoy games that mess with your mind and offer a truly immersive experience. Tempest Rising. Tempest Rising is a game that's bringing real-time strategy fans back to their roots. If you've ever loved the old Command & Conquer games or classics like Red Alert, then this is definitely one to watch. The game combines fast-paced, action-packed gameplay with a mix of modern graphics and mechanics that bring the RTS genre into 2025. It's all about strategic depth, but in a way that's fun, dynamic, and accessible. The game is set in an alternate future, where the world is in turmoil and powers are fighting for control. The beauty of Tempest Rising is that it doesn't slow down. Base building, resource gathering, and army commanding are fast, and the pacing of the game keeps you on the edge of your seat. But it's not just about fast building. The real challenge is how you use your resources and time to launch devastating attacks while managing your base efficiently. Every second counts. There are 3 main factions in the game, each offering unique strategies and tactics. First, you have the Global Defense Forces, a traditional military faction focused on heavy armor, advanced weapons, and air superiority. Think tanks, jets, artillery, and strong defenses. This faction is about overwhelming firepower and domination through strength. Then there's the Tempest Dynasty. This faction is all about high-tech, experimental units that feature alien-like technology. They have unique units and abilities that make them more asymmetrical compared to GDF. Their playstyle is more flexible, allowing players to surprise opponents with unconventional strategies. If you like to outthink your opponents rather than just outgun them, Tempest Dynasty is where you want to be. Finally, there's a mysterious third faction that's been teased but not fully revealed. This faction promises to be a game changer with abilities and units that could completely alter the balance of the game. We don't know exactly what they're capable of yet, but fans are eagerly waiting for more info. In Tempest Rising, you won't have the luxury of slow and cautious gameplay. It's a game built around the idea of pressure. You need to expand quickly, control resource points, and keep pushing forward. The limited resources make sure that no one can just sit back and play defensive for too long. Every map is filled with opportunities to attack, defend, and conquer, and knowing when to strike is key to victory. One of the coolest features is the multiplayer experience. Tempest Rising will have a ranked mode, which is perfect for players who want to test their skills against the best. Expect dedicated servers for smoother matches, and the game will even allow modding support, meaning players can create custom maps, units, and even entire new game modes. This opens the door for a whole new level of content to keep the game fresh long after its release. If you're more into single-player campaigns, Tempest Rising doesn't skimp on that either. The campaign is fully voiced with great cutscenes and a gripping storyline that mixes Cold War-like espionage with high-tech alien warfare. The story is filled with conspiracies, deep government secrets, and powerful factions all fighting for control. As you play, you'll be faced with tough decisions, and how you manage your resources and armies will be the difference between success and failure. The game's visuals are impressive too. The environments are beautifully crafted, with destructible buildings, detailed units, and dynamic weather effects that can change how you approach battles. You'll fight through cities, forests, and military bases, each with its own challenges and strategic opportunities. Ultimately, Tempest Rising is about fast thinking, fast action, and strategic depth. It doesn't just let you sit back and turtle up. The game pushes you to make decisions quickly, react to threats, and manage your resources with precision. Whether you're a veteran of RTS games or new to the genre, Tempest Rising offers an exciting and fresh take that's sure to keep you hooked. Holstin. Alright, let's talk about Holstin, and I'm telling you now, this game is gonna be a sleeper hit. This isn't your typical survival horror. Holstin is set in the 1980s in Poland, in a small, eerie town that's slowly being consumed by something twisted, something unnatural. The devs call it a psychological horror, but honestly, it's deeper than that. It's got this old-school Resident Evil energy, mixed with a touch of Silent Hill unease. And it's all wrapped in a gorgeous pixel art style that somehow makes it even creepier. What makes Holstin unique is how it blends isometric exploration with over-the-shoulder combat. Yep, you heard that right. You're walking around in a top-down view, exploring these abandoned buildings, checking every corner, feeling like something is watching you, and then boom! When the action hits, the camera zooms in, and you're suddenly in full 3D aiming mode, pulling off shots like it's a proper survival shooter. It's seamless, it's stylish, and it works. But here's the part that really hooked me: the atmosphere. Everything feels cold, damp, and isolated. The town is full of strange NPCs who speak in cryptic dialogue, and every room you walk into feels like a trap. The sound design? Chilling. There's this constant hum of unease and sometimes silence. And that silence is terrifying. You're not just shooting monsters, you're uncovering what happened to this town, what this strange corruption is, and why people are acting like they've already given up on escaping. And the devs are going all in on immersion. Fully voice-acted dialogues, real-time lighting, and puzzles that actually make you think. No fetch quests, no lazy design. Just a solid, focused horror experience that respects your time and intelligence. This is one of those indie games that could easily become a cult classic. If you're into slow burn horror, mysterious storytelling, and retro vibes with modern mechanics, keep Holstin on your radar, because once it drops, I guarantee horror fans are gonna be all over it. Hollow Knight Silksong. At this point, Silksong isn't just a game, it's a myth, a dream, a promise. It's the white whale of the Metroidvania community. We've waited years. Memes were born. Hope faded and returned. Hollow Knight Silksong is the long-awaited follow-up to Hollow Knight, one of the most critically acclaimed indie games of all time. And this time, you're not playing as the silent little knight. You're stepping into the shoes of Hornet, the fast, fierce, and acrobatic princess protector of Hallownest. And trust me, this completely changes how the game plays. Hornet is quicker, more agile, and way more aggressive. Where the knight was methodical and grounded, Hornet feels like a dancer with a needle for a sword, dashing, flipping, slicing through enemies like it's an art form. Movement is everything here, and it looks smooth as silk, pun intended. The world of Silksong, or the kingdom of Farloom, is brand new, completely separate from the dark, decaying world of Hallownest. Here, everything's vertical. Towering spires, winding caves, traps everywhere. The vibe is more dangerous, more mysterious, and honestly, way more alive than in the original game. The devs at Team Cherry have said it's going to be even bigger than Hollow Knight, which, if you played it, you know is a bold statement. Christopher Larkin is back, and just from the previews, you can already feel it. Melancholic strings, haunting melodies, and those sudden bursts of epicness when the boss fight kicks in. It's not just background music, it's part of the emotion of the world. Speaking of bosses, yeah, they're turning up the heat. There are over 150 new enemies, and the boss fights look insane. Fast, chaotic, but beautifully animated. You're gonna need to stay on your toes, perfect your dodges, learn the patterns, and unleash Hornet's unique abilities at the right moment. There's also crafting, which adds a whole new layer. You'll gather materials from fallen enemies and hidden corners, and then forge tools and upgrades to tailor Hornet to your style. This wasn't in the first game, and it shows just how much deeper they're going this time. But here's the thing. Silksong isn't just more Hollow Knight. It's its own experience, and faster, deadlier, with a new story, new world, and a new tone. It's more urgent. Hornet isn't just wandering. She's on a mission. A journey to the top of a cursed kingdom, and every step forward feels like a challenge and a reward. Mark my words, when Silksong drops, the internet is going to explode. Streamers, speedrunners, lore hunters, everyone will be back in the depths, searching for secrets, dying 1,000 times, and loving every second of it. Titanfall 3. Let me just say it, Titanfall is finally back, and this could be the resurrection of one of the most underrated FPS franchises in gaming history. For years, fans have been begging Respawn to bring it back. Titanfall 2 had everything. Smooth parkour, fast gunplay, giant mechs falling from the sky, and yet it got buried under the shadow of other releases. But it became a cult classic, and now, in 2026, we're getting what we've all been waiting for, Titanfall 3. So far, we know that Respawn isn't just making more of the same. They're aiming for something bigger, bolder, and even more cinematic. Titanfall 3 is set to expand both the multiplayer and single-player sides. And from what insiders are saying, this isn't just Titanfall 2.5, it's a full-blown leap forward. Let's talk movement first, because that's what made Titanfall special. That slick wall running, the grappling hooks, the double jumps, It was like parkour on steroids, and it sounds like Titanfall 3 is doubling down on this. More traversal mechanics, new tricks, smoother transitions between pilot and Titan. You'll be chaining together runs, slides, vaults, and then calling down a mech mid-sprint like it's second nature. It's all about flow, and no other shooter does it like this. Then there's the Titans, the absolute heart of the series. These aren't just walking tanks, they're an extension of you. In Titanfall 3, every Titan will have custom loadouts, unique abilities, and even personality traits. Some leaks hint at deeper AI interaction, meaning your Titan might actually feel like a partner, not just a tool. And let's not ignore the campaign, because Titanfall 2 had one of the best FPS campaigns ever made, period. BT-7274 is a legend. The time travel level, iconic. Now imagine what Respawn can do in 2026 with new tech, better storytelling, and lessons learned from making Apex Legends and Jedi Survivor. Word is they're crafting a full cinematic narrative. Choices, emotional beats, and set pieces that rival blockbuster movies. On the multiplayer side, oh man, prepare for chaos. More pilots, more Titans, more verticality, and hopefully, fingers crossed, destructible environments. The gunplay is already some of the tightest in the genre, and if they manage to refine the netcode and matchmaking, we're looking at an FPS renaissance. And here's the cherry on top. Respawn knows what this game means to people. This isn't just another shooter, it's the return of a legend. Titanfall 3 could be the game that unites the Apex crowd, the old-school FPS fans, and the hardcore Titanfall community all under one roof. So if you've never touched Titanfall before, this is your moment. Titanfall is coming back, and it's coming back loud. Project The Perceiver. Imagine a game that mixes the fluid swordplay of Sekiro, the open-world exploration of Ghost of Tsushima, and wraps it all in this surreal, almost dreamlike world filled with mystery, masks, and moral choices. That's Project The Perceiver, and it looks like one of the most ambitious and stylish action games coming out in 2025. Developed by Paper Games, a Chinese studio that's going all in on high-quality visuals and intricate world design, Project The Perceiver isn't just another Souls-like. Nah, this one's something different. It's built around a unique idea, perception. Every character, every faction, every choice is based on how the world sees you and how you see the world in return. The protagonist, a wandering swordsman in a collapsing dynasty, thrown into chaos, surrounded by corruption, and haunted by conflicting ideologies. But here's the twist. Instead of following a fixed path, you collect masks, each representing a different identity, philosophy, or worldview. And these aren't just cosmetic. Each mask literally transforms your combat style. One mask might turn you into a brutal, strength-based warrior who smashes through enemies with overwhelming force. Another might make you a quick, agile duelist who dances around attacks like a ghost. Some masks even alter how NPCs interact with you. It's not just about how you fight, it's about who you are. The world design, absolutely gorgeous. Think ancient Chinese architecture, lush mountains, mist-covered villages, mystical temples, and burning cities, all connected in a seamless, open-world map. But it's not just big, it's dense, full of hidden stories, optional bosses, philosophical dialogues, and secrets that reward exploration. Combat looks tight and precise, parry-based, stamina-focused, but way more dynamic than your typical Souls-like. It's fast when it needs to be, but punishing if you're sloppy. And animations? Clean, stylish, with that classic one hit can end it all tension. Every duel feels like a movie scene. And we gotta talk about the vibe. Project The Perceiver drips with atmosphere. The music is haunting. The world feels ancient but twisted, and the story seems to play with moral ambiguity, like there's no true good or evil, just conflicting beliefs. You're not just fighting enemies, you're navigating ideologies. Who do you trust? Who do you become? Honestly, this could be one of the most original action RPGs of the year. If the devs stick the landing, we might be looking at a new cult classic, the kind of game that sneaks up on people and blows minds. So don't sleep on this one. If you like games that make you think as much as fight, where every battle is a test of your reflexes and your philosophy, Project The Perceiver is gonna be your jam. War Thunder, new DLC. Let's talk about the War Thunder 2025 DLC, because if you're anything like me, someone who gets hyped just hearing the words new tech tree or vehicle overhaul, this one's going to be a must-play. Gaijin Entertainment has been surprisingly tight-lipped about the full scope, but from what we've gathered through dev blogs, data mines, and some spicy teaser trailers, this upcoming DLC could be one of the most significant content drops we've seen in years. They're rumored to be introducing next-gen vehicles, possibly even 6th-generation fighter jets, with more advanced avionics and electronic warfare systems. Think stealth tech, more realistic radar locking, and electronic countermeasures actually impacting gameplay like never before. For ground forces, there's a lot of speculation pointing to modernized MBTS main battle tanks. We're talking T-14 Armada, Leopard 2 A8, maybe even prototype tanks that haven't officially entered service yet. These aren't just armor reskins. Gaijine's pushing interactive internals, new hitbox modeling, and even advanced active protection systems that can intercept incoming projectiles. This completely changes tank combat. You're not just trading shells anymore, you're playing chess with cutting-edge tech. And for air battles, if you're a pilot, you're in for a treat. The flight model updates coming alongside this DLC are rumored to bring supersonic physics tweaks, more accurate G-force modeling, and revamped control surfaces, especially for top-tier jets. That means more realism, more skill expression, and more nail-biting dogfights. Oh, and don't sleep on the new maps. One of them looks like it's set in a snow-covered Eastern European theater, with dynamic weather, fog, and possibly destructible buildings. Yep, environmental strategy is becoming part of the equation. Now, if you're more of a naval player, you're not left out either. There's talk of modern guided missile destroyers and more sophisticated tracking systems for naval combat. Torpedoes with active guidance, depth charge tactics, and long-range naval radar updates could really spice up the slower pace of sea warfare. But here's the best part. Cross-tech integration is getting smarter. We're seeing mechanics where an airstrike can disrupt a naval objective, or tank movements are impacted by overhead drone recon. War Thunder has always aimed for realism, but this is next-level tactical depth. And of course, Gaijin is working on graphical upgrades with DLS 3.5 and ray-traced lighting support, which means explosions, vehicle reflections, and weather effects will look better than ever. It's not just a DLC, it's a full evolution of the game's core mechanics and visuals. If you're into tactical realism or even just the thrill of unlocking the next big beast in your hangar, 2025 is looking like a turning point for War Thunder. Whether you're in the skies, on the ground, or commanding the seas, this DLC might just be the update that pulls everyone back in or gets a whole new generation hooked.